Have you ever poured decades of your life into a retirement dream by the water, just to have some entitled HOA queen declare it her personal property? What if the woman constantly preaching about community harmony was secretly the biggest bully on the block? And what happens when the guy everyone wrote off as that quiet veteran finally stops being nice and starts being right? My name is Ryan Caldwell, and for 15 years I designed ships that could withstand hurricanes. When I retired from the Navy, all I wanted was a simple dock, some salt air, and the chance to restore my grandfather's old wooden trawler without anyone breathing down my neck. Palm Shores Estates in Florida looked perfect on paper. Peaceful canals, private waterfront lots, the whole American dream package. I drained my savings to buy the place with its own deepwater dock. For 6 blissful months it was heaven. I waved at neighbors, tinkered on my boat, and minded my own business like a good retiree should. Then I took a 2-week fishing trip with my old service buddies. No phones, no email, pure peace. Pulling back into my driveway with my trailer, something felt off. Bright orange barriers surrounded my dock. A big sign screamed, HOA maintenance zone. No trespassing. My tools were missing. My materials gone. And sitting pretty in my slip, tied to my own cleats, was this monstrous 65-foot yacht called the Imperial Decree, sparkling like it owned the Gulf of Mexico. I marched straight to the HOA office the next morning. There she was, Vannie Hargrove, or Mrs. President, as she insisted everyone call her in that fake sweet voice, president of the board. The queen on her throne, surrounded by photos of herself cutting ribbons at charity events. Didn't even bother standing up. "Mr." she said, barely looking up from her papers, "I assume you're here about the marina improvements." She explained it like I was 5 years old. The board had voted in an emergency session to upgrade the community waterfront for larger vessels to boost property values. My dock was strategically located, so they reassigned it temporarily. I'd get a new slipway down the canal that was basically a mud pit. When I showed her my deed proving the dock was private property, she just smiled that tight little smile. "You really should read the updated bylaws, Ryan. We passed an amendment giving us emergency powers over all waterfront assets. It's all perfectly legal, dear." I walked out shaking. Bob haircut and diamond tennis bracelet had just stolen $450,000 worth of my property and acted like she was doing the community a favor. Back home I dug through every paper I owned. Deed was crystal clear, dock conveyed with the land. Bylaws had some vague improvement clause, but nothing that let her play pirate with my pilings. No email about any meeting. By design, obviously. That evening I wandered down to snap photos of the Imperial Decree squatting on my land. That's when I met Harlan Whitaker 2 doors down. Late 60s, face like old leather, eyes that missed nothing. He was sipping a beer on his porch. "The Imperial Decree," he called out, nodding at the yacht, "fits her better than community asset, don't you think?" I walked over. "You know her." Harlan chuckled dryly. "I used to be a circuit court judge. Watched Vannie turn this place into her personal fiefdom for 6 years. That's her boat, son." Marina fees at the yacht club were killing her, so suddenly we needed an emergency upgrade. She did the same thing last year with the community garden. Rezoned it for her husband's convertible parking. My jaw dropped. For her toy? Harlan clinked his bottle against the railing. Fear and apathy keep her in power. Most folks here are snowbirds who don't want drama. Bored are her bobbleheads. Buries complaints in paperwork. "But you're not broke yet, right?" I stared at that floating palace. "No. Folding." "Good," he said. "I'm bored and I miss a good takedown." That was the spark. Investigative reporter in Atlanta. Flew down the next day after I called. She spread my documents across the kitchen table like a war map. "This isn't a dock dispute, Ryan. This is fraud. HOA dues into improvements that just happen to fit her yacht. That's embezzlement. Follow the money." While Brooke dove into the books, I hit the engineering side. Pulled every permit on file for the marina. 0 from the Department of Environmental Protection. No Army Corps approval. Pilings and rewriting the shoreline on pure ego. Worse, the electrical upgrades powering her floating palace were tapped straight into the community grid. No commercial meter. Every homeowner to run her AC and wine fridges. I documented it all. Changes. Water samples showing sediment churn from her dredging. A dossier thicker than the phone book. Vanny wasn't idle. Fine arrived. $500 for unauthorized surveillance equipment. My drone. Unsightly yard debris. My boat trailer. Then a cease and desist from her husband's firm threatening a restraining order if I stepped near the HOA office again. Neighbors started whispering. Ryan's that unstable veteran causing trouble. Vanny says he's harassing the board. Classic Karen move. Slander the victim so the neighborhood turns on him first. I stayed quiet, kept smiling, kept watching. Let her think the little guy was beaten. The grocery store run-in was pure comedy gold. I bumped into Vanny in the produce aisle. She didn't even pretend civility. You're making a mistake, mister. Squeezing a cantaloupe like it owed her money. You're new. How things work here. I can lean your house. Do you really want to lose everything over a few planks? It's for the greater good. I leaned in close, voice low. Your yacht's amp draw is melting the community wiring. Be a shame if it sparked one night. She turned purple. I smiled sweetly. Just professional engineering advice, Vanny. Read the code sometime. She stormed off, cart abandoned like a battlefield casualty. The real escalation came a week before the annual meeting. I came home to a construction barge moored off my seawall. Crew tearing down my remaining pilings. I sprinted down screaming. Stop! That's my property. The foreman held up a clipboard. HOA work order. Vanny lounged on the yacht deck in a sun hat, sipping something with an umbrella. Safety first, Ryan, she called sweetly. Can't have eyesores endangering everyone. I lost it. Climbed straight into the excavator cab and sat there, arms crossed. Demo this dock? You take me with it. Vanny shrieked at the foreman. He looked at me, looked at her, and killed the engines. I ain't touching a veteran. Call the cops if you want, lady. Saw my deed and survey, shrugged at Vanny. Civil matter. Disputed property. Barge left. I won that round, but the war peaked at the meeting. Brooke struck gold the night before and found $65,000 funneled to a shell company called Coastal Solutions. Address traced to Vanny's brother. Exact down payment on the imperial decree. She's laundering dues through family, Brooke whispered, eyes gleaming. We own her. The clubhouse was packed for the annual meeting. Harlan had rallied the old guard. Brooke leaked permit violations to a local blog. Tension you could taste. Vanny banged the gavel at the head table, flanked by her nervous VP and lawyer husband. Order. First up, the Marina Beautification Project. I stood. Madam President. She snapped. Sit down, Mr. Caldwell. Later. I walked straight to the front anyway. This isn't a comment. I plugged my laptop into the projector. Didn't ask, just did it. Screen lit up. Red-faced. Unauthorized. I'll sue for disruption. Harlan's judge voice boomed from the front row. Let the man speak. The room hushed. First slide. My map with red overlays. This is your renovation. These are the denial letters from DEP and Army Corps. Illegal. Fines could hit $10,000 a day. Gasps rippled. Vanny clutched her pearls like they might save her. But I wasn't done. Me. Care to explain these bank records, Vanny? 65 grand of our reserve fund to a fake consulting firm owned by your brother. Matching the exact down payment on your yacht. I flashed the transfers, dates, sales receipt. The room exploded. People shouted. Vanny hammered the gavel, voice cracking. This is slander. Order. Then the knockout punch. The barge foreman walked in. I tipped him off. She told me to skip safety checks, he said loud and clear. Dump debris in protected seagrass to save cash. Got the texts right here. He held up his phone. Vanny froze. He closed his briefcase, eyes cold, and slipped out the side door without a word. He knew the ship was sinking. I moved for immediate recall. Vote was a landslide. Vanny stripped of her title on the spot, standing there trembling in her designer suit, just a sad, greedy woman exposed. You'll regret this, she shrieked. I leaned into the mic. Neighborhood back. But we didn't stop. Authorities got involved. On Brooks' files. Vanny charged with embezzlement, fraud, environmental crimes. City inspectors shut the marina down. Because the imperial decree was illegally moored on my private property with bootleg power, they impounded it. I watched from my deck as the towboat hauled her trophy away. Sweetest sight in Florida. Vanny and hubby listed their house a week later. She fought the charges, but with texts, paper trail, and the foreman's testimony, it was over. Husband cut a deal to save his license, repaid every cent plus interest. Vanny got probation, a massive fine, and permanent ban from any HOA or nonprofit board in Florida. We rebuilt. From president reluctantly, and we rewrote bylaws to kill emergency powers. Dues dropped. Real fixes. I finished my trawler. Yesterday I was polishing brass when Harlan strolled down with scotch and glasses. 20 years here and I never knew my neighbors, he said, pouring. Now we've got potlucks. I grinned. Funny what a common enemy does. He clapped my shoulder. You didn't just get your dock back, Ryan. You gave everyone their spines. Looking out at calm water, orange barriers gone, tools back where they belonged, it hits different. How many neighborhoods are still under some petty tyrant's thumb because everyone's too polite to push back? Easy to shrug off one rule, one fee. But give them an inch and they take your whole waterfront. Standing up is messy. But sitting on my dock now, listening to gentle waves, I can tell you, it's worth every second. So here's my lazy take. If some HOA Karen ever tries to steal what's yours with a smile and a rulebook, don't rage. Document like your freedom depends on it. Expose the fraud, rally the quiet ones, and watch the empire crumble. Bullies only win when you stay silent. Draw that line. The other side.